The end product is the World Cup. The end product is MLS Cups, but it begins here. Man, oh man, does this kid live up to the hype.
A second cross floated in Serrano! Seattle Sounders with the goal!
These 15-year-olds, these 16 and 17-year-olds, to go through tournaments like this, the adversity they face, because every single one of these players has the ability to play for your first team. Remember this when your first team lifts MLS Cups in the future.
Welcome everybody to Frisco, Texas, the site of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup. We are in to our second semifinal at the U17 stage, and it's two Gigantes, River Plate from Buenos Aires against Tigres coming out of Monterrey. Hi everybody and welcome to this one. I'm David Goss alongside former FC Dallas player right here roaming these fields in Bobby Warshaw. And Bobby, it's a semifinal. If you're a young player wearing the badge of a big club, you know the expectations on your shoulders.
These clubs that are expected to win trophies every single year, which is what we see from River Plate in Argentina and Tigres in Mexico. And you're that next generation. So the players you see at the first team level on TV right now, that will be you soon enough, and the preparation starts in games like this.
Let's take a look at the bracket and how these teams got here. And there were two teams that came in with those heavy expectations for River Plate. They opened up a little slow in the group stage, but they got rolling in the knockouts. A 3-1 win against Solar set them up against Manchester United in one of the biggest games at GA Cup. Almost 1,000 fans over watching that game. They knocked off Man U 2-1. On the flip side for Tigres, they were able to fight through Houston for a second time in the round of 16 and then knocked off NYCFC after a 1-1 tie in penalty kicks. Let's take a look at our starting lineups, Bobby. And when you talk River, you know you're always talking about their number 10.
It's the same shape every year at this event, David. It's 4 defenders, 3 central midfielders, a number 10 in behind the 2 strikers. And this year that number 10 is the talented Augustin Luque.
On the flip side for Tigres, it's a 3-headed monster. Up top, it's the twin brothers, Isias and Isaac Galvan, and out left, number 300 for this squad in Diego Sanchez, one of the best attackers in this entire tournament. As we get ready for first kick here at the GA Cup, we've got Kelly Glendenning with us as well down on the sideline. A couple of reports that might join us up here in the booth as well. As you can see, the energy at this one. The fans are out. Tigres, one of the biggest teams in this region. River Plate, arguably the biggest team in their region, going toe-to-toe here at the Toyota Soccer Center. River in their classic white kits with the red sash going right to left, and Tigres in their yellow and blue kits going left to right.
Starting the broadcast with the big questions, David. It's going straight forward. I like it. And make no mistake about it, River Plate are the kings of Generation Adidas Cup. 3-time champions, competing for trophies every time they're here. When they show up here in Frisco, Texas, they expect to take home a trophy.
And a nice added element for them as the U15 level here at the Generation Adidas Cup expanded out for the first time ever. So 40 U15 clubs, including River's U15s, at this tournament. And so they have that supportive section behind them, along with some local fans. Of course, River, one of those big clubs that has fans all around the world. You see the flag go up there for the first time in this one. Nick Goyette, our center referee. Tarishe Yinka Kahinde, our assistant referee. So River, as Bobby said, big expectations in this one. They came into the tournament, Bobby, 2-1 win against DC United, maybe not as dominant as we expected off the bat. And then in their second game, a 1-1 draw against San Jose, they took a second-minute lead on a corner kick. But then San Jose pushed them, and they really took control of that game. It was one of the best performances we saw from a team overall in San Jose, and got them into penalty kicks.
It was, and if you have not seen this under-17 River Plate team, if you have not tuned into GA Cup in years past, do not expect them to play the most beautiful Argentine soccer you've ever seen. If you expect to see a Riquelme come in here Well, you might see a Riquelme type performance in their number 10 Luque, but it's not just all tiki-taka around the field. They're defensively organized.
Ball played in. It falls out of the box, and a dream start. It's Isak Galvan. It's Isias Galvan. He has led the way all tournament, and he does it here.
Defensive organization, that, Tigres say. The ball whipped in, caught in the wind, gets over the center backs, and just the deft little finish. Look at this. The perfect weight on that cross, and then just the slightest of touches. Tigres came to play today.
And that is what Tigres has been built on, those two brothers. The cross from Isak, the finish from Isias. And it has been the formula all week for this Tigres side.
We needed that juice, David. Again, you cannot take your eyes off the screen right now. And thank you to everyone joining in the Twitch and YouTube streams. We're here. We're in the chat. We see what you're putting in there. We appreciate you. We are excited to watch these next 60 minutes with you. Get a touch, David.
As we almost get my head taken off. Bobby got a half juggle. Kelly, can we get a report from the sideline there? Bobby Warsaw, skill check, yes or no?
For considering the conditions here,
exactly.
You've got a lot of cords around you.
Exactly.
You're up on an elevated surface. You were up against the tent wall. You know, I'd say 8 out of 10.
So you're immediately going to the wind and the conditions. A crutch for Bobby Warsaw. This is about pressure, Bobby. Learning how to live up to the big moments. This one gets knocked up the field.
Even though I look stupid in the moment the Tigres gave up a goal, I just want to point out again that River Plate come and they are dominant in GA Cup because of their defensive organization, their physicality, set pieces, and big moments. They won't come out and try and dominate the game with the ball or play the most beautiful soccer you'll ever see. They'll do this. They'll win their duels. They'll wait for set pieces, and they'll be very mature about their performance.
And you say physicality, and it's a combination of physicality and intensity. Their ability to win 50-50s, to just get in your face. And that's what we see from a lot of teams is a lot of teams take a half step back, whether it's conscious or subconscious when they play against River Plate. We talked to the Manchester United coaching staff yesterday, and they saw it, right? They said there are some things we're better at than River, but there are things that River are well superior to us too. And that's at the Man U level, which other teams maybe take that half step back against. So this River team, they are one of the most impressive sides you'll see in Tigres. I mean, that's the dream start for them because they want to sit in and hit in transition.
They do. They don't want to dominate the ball either. They're perfectly happy staying in their mid-block and using these three fantastic attackers out on the break.
Let's go back down to Kelly Glendenning on reports on real things that aren't Bobby Warsaw. And Kelly now, she's got the excuse, the wind. It's the wind once again.
I'm here now.
As River flies forward here. Opportunity to get a first shot away, and it's tackled away by this Tigres defense. And now we can go down to Kelly.
What I was saying is something that I really just love about not just the U17 Tigres team, but this club as a whole and its coacher is just the positive energy and vibes that they try to incorporate into their game. And you guys saw before the game, they've got a speaker playing on the sideline with some music. They're smiling, they're having fun. There's a clear culture on display here for this organization. And we actually got to speak to one of the Tigres coaches a few days ago, and he spoke about the joy that these players have and how they want that to come through in their play. And when they're out there on the pitch, it's really clear to see, guys.
And they have become a giant in Mexico over the last 10 years. Unarguably, they've been the most successful club. So turning a new leaf, a lot of that has been done with high spending on the senior level, and it feels like it's time for the academy to break through. It feels like the expectations are that the academy is what can take them to the next level. And so these young players, a big opportunity as that older generation starts to age out. You can hear the River fans still full-throated support as this ball bounces. A chance in the box! And we're at 1-1. Jonas Luna pops up on the end of that bouncing ball and slots it past Leo Gonzalez.
And it's a clever ball from Luque that really starts it, that pins Tigres back, gives River Plate a chance to win it back in the attacking half. And here we see the long floated cross coming in. So difficult to deal with in this wind. It gets to the back post. And Jonas Luna, so good throughout the tournament, stays balanced, stays over it, and drives it into that far post.
And we have seen for River, Lisandro Bahu, the left back, be a constant threat up top. And maybe it wasn't the best ball we've ever seen hit, but the volume that he's going to get in there throughout the game means at some point it's going to break through. And you got to love that Luna made the effort to get there on that far post.
Now, Dave, it's your favorite part of Generation Adidas Cup. Put on the hat, change the face. Weatherman Dave, what are we looking at right now?
I don't know, Bobby, because I don't have it up in front of me. You don't give me a warning. It's windy. It's cold. This is probably the coldest kickoff we've had all week. Would that be fair?
Yes. And maybe the windiest kickoff we've had all week. You can hear it gusting behind River Plate right now.
Which is a shift from what it was 2 hours ago. It was coming from left to right on your screen. Now it's going from right to left.
I just assume you always know the gust speed in your head.
Yeah, and PHs. I've got a mile per hour meter. That's why I wear the Pee Wee Herman hat. As you can see, River Plate, they've got their U15s here playing in that competition. And it's one of those clubs where any city, any area you go around the world, but especially in Dallas, you'll find supporters. And we have seen over the years the River supporters coming out. They've got teams that play at the Dallas Cup simultaneous here as well. But we've seen Man U supporters, Valencia supporters, Celtic, all of these big clubs that have local supporters groups that have come out to watch this next generation coming through. 1-1 now as we stand even. Joaquin Flores going to dance along that end line. And we'll go out for a corner kick.
And we see Flores picking the ball up on his preferred right side. When we talk about this River Plate shape, 4 defenders, 3 center midfielders, a number 10 and 2 strikers, it's really Flores who is giving the most flexibility to move out of his spot and go pick up the ball in unpredictable positions.
This corner served in and taken into the hands there by Gonzalez. Galvan challenging on that one. Now it's Isak Galvan. And it's tackled away there. Big switch of the field. Space to charge into for Diego Sanchez, who may be my golden ball winner in this tournament if they make it to the final. He has been as fun an attacking player as there is. This team doesn't dominate the ball. You don't see it like other teams where it's a 10 pulling the strings over and over. But as you saw there, every time Sanchez touches the ball, it's a threat. Now Alexis Gonzalez into the box. His shot is blocked. Second opportunity, and it's toe poked away.
Do you get a golden ball vote?
I think I just get to decide it. I don't really think there's much of a committee besides myself.
David, we're taking a look at this play. Once again, it's number 7, Flores, drifting out to the right side, finding the space. And then anytime he can pick up his head, his striker partner, number 9, Alexis Gonzalez, is going to try and run into the depth, find the through ball. It's what we see, well defended by Tigres in the end.
You did say we kind of always see the same thing from River year after year. I will say Gonzalez is a different profile of a center forward. Bigger, ability to stretch the field in a different way. Normally, it's more of an in-the-box, grind-it-out poacher. I think the best example is Giovanni Simeone, who we've seen at this tournament, Diego Simeone's son, who finds the game, presses hard, but isn't as much of just a pure threat as Alexis Gonzalez is.
You've never done a Twitch stream until you know that Diego Simeone is in there watching you. That's living.
Greatest coach in the world. Probably the most underpaid coach in the world because he's the greatest. Probably seething alongside me right now. Shout out to all of you in the Twitch chat with us. We appreciate you all that have been enjoying the games with us all week. Shout out to all the River and Tigres fans. Congrats to the Seattle Sounders fans. Their victory in the previous game, putting them in the final for the second straight tournament. The winner of this game will face off against them.
David, Tigres gets ready to take this free kick. We've already seen both goals come on crosses, not even particularly well done crosses, just the defenders struggling with the wind, the ball hanging up. We'll see how it impacts this one. Tigres, 2 groups, 3 at the corner of the 18, 2 more in the middle of the goal.
All 11 players back to defend here for River. They know the threat. The Galvan brothers hanging on to each other at the back post. And it's headed up in the air by Fernandez. Second ball headed in. And Bahu takes it in front of Locatelli. Big clearance back up to midfield with the wind gusting it forward. And Bobby, you have your checklist. You have not just the tournament, but the Generation Adidas Cup. And we've seen already in this game, Isak to Isias Galvan, game-changing attacking players, check for Tigres. We have seen the play. Of Leonardo Allison. The question is, do you hang on to this 60 minutes?
Point. So you have the tape, informed goalkeeper.
Okay, who's it?
So if we'll start here, an inform has the advantage.
From what we've seen, they've been unneeded more goals. He can win you.
That's Monterrey. Sorry. But of Gonzalez runs we've seen.
Spear comment. Tigres ID that he didn't want to step out and defend that little bit higher in Galvan, living in that space on the top of the 18 off to the right.
As I was saying, Tigres, great difference makers. So dangerous.
And they're using the Bobby Warshaw formula right now. Potentially put themselves on a road to face off against the Seattle Sounders. Welcome to all of you who are watching with us here on Twitch. Feel free to ask us any questions, send us any comments. We'd love to have you all in our broadcast with us. We've had a lot of fun all week as we watch these games. Bobby, big game here. What stands out to you and what else you've seen this week?
Well, I was going to answer the first one, which is what stands out to me about this game. It's the attacking stance that both of these teams have taken on the front foot, wanting to apply pressure to the opposition. We thought both of these teams would come in and sit more, wait for mistakes, play on the counter, but it's been the exact opposite of this game, which has been fantastic. What stood out to me in the week more broadly? I'd say David, is a late drama.
Yeah.
We have seen so many late equalizers, so many penalty shootouts. And then two, it's the individual performances and more specifically the goals, right? We've seen dope pokes upper 90. We've seen volleys. We've seen team combinations. We have seen some goals that made our eyes pop, that got the sauce meter out. And it's been a joy to watch all week.
And you talk about late drama for this Tigres team. It was a stoppage time equalizer against RSL in the second group stage game, a game in which they didn't have a shot until that moment. That got them through to this round. As the foot race is on here, Gonzalez knocking it back upfield now. Alexis Gonzalez on the ball for this River Plate side. That one's knocked away immediately. Good clearance there from Bustindu. The Tigres, a dramatic game against RSL in that one. And then in their round of 16 game, they trailed 2-0 to Houston Dynamo after 22 minutes. They scored their opener 1 minute after that on a penalty. And they came back to win 3-2 in the end in that game before knocking off NYCFC after a 1-1 draw, 5-4 in penalties in the previous round. Now flying forward once again here is Francisco Crota. Can't keep his feet. Now Sanchez going to work defensively against Fernandez. Well, Bobby talked about that drama. Tigres has been at the heart of it in this tournament. Dramatic open to this one. 3 goals in the opening 13 minutes. And now Alexis Gonzalez trying to make it 4 for River Plate. This ball squared in. Defended once again by Tigres. It was the recovery run from the captain, Vicencio. So we apologize to anyone if they're having any technical difficulties over on YouTube. Soccer Sorbet guy nailed it. I forgot to pay the internet bill, so therefore the game went down. I apologize for that. I've had a lot going on, Bobby. We've been calling 4 games a day over the course of the last week here at the Generation Adidas Cup. We can do a podcast as well if you want to know more about selling players, youth development, the bridge between academies and first teams. We sat down with some really cool guests as this ball is curled in. Headed on goal just wide. The second ball played across, and the offside flag will go up.
And the best part is that we all know you still pay your bills by check. You're that type of guy.
Yeah, of course. So I didn't bring all my stamps here because I obviously have the forever stamps.
Yeah.
But if you want to search MLS Today on Spotify or any of your podcast apps, you can go and listen to our interviews with Fred Lipka, who is the Vice President of Youth Development for Major League Soccer, about what's gone on so far in youth development over his 5+ years and what he's looking most forward to. You can go listen to our interview with Pamo Duka as well, head coach of North Texas SC, champion last year with Pacific FC in the CPL, about the bridge between academies and the first team as young players try and find their feet at the pro ranks and just about everything, because when you talk to Pa, you go everywhere because he's the best. We sat down with Andre Zanota as well, the technical director of FC Dallas, about selling young players, sort of taking us into the minds of a GM and a club as an opportunity coming here for River to tie it, and the big save by Gonzalez.
It's that man, Flores again. He's the one to pop up in the unpredictable spots. This time it comes in from Luna. Slip to Flores. Gonzalez makes the guess, dives to his right. And it's an easy save once he's gone down.
Oh, bike kick at the far post. And Joaquin Flores putting on a show.
It came out of nowhere. The heads are there, the bodies are there. And Flores just goes for it. Good contact. Here it is, the driven ball. Just about the snappiest bicycle kick you'll see.
You see bike kicks sometimes and the contact's awkward and the shape of the ball that comes off your foot is awkward. That was a rocket off Flores' foot.
Do you get sauce for a shot that is not a goal or doesn't hit the target?
Controversial.
I'm going to say no. I know our production crew is quick to that sauce meter. I'm going to say no on this one. Impressive.
As we take a look at the goals that have been scored already. Only one in our first game, 3 already in this first half of this game. And it was the brothers linking up. Isak Galvan to Isias to start, and then River fighting right back.
And we can see the trend. All 3 goals come on crosses from similar spots. All floated, all make the defender on the back post deal with the wind. All 3 times the defenders struggled. 3 crosses, 3 goals.
So Tigres right now discussing the potential for the substitution if it's necessary. 7 substitutes available to these coaching staffs here in this game. You can make as many as you want in the first half and as many moments as you want. In the second half, you get 3 moments to make your changes. Gonzalez trying to pull it off for Luque. Second chance is intercepted once again. Good work there from Bernardo Parra at the defensive midfield spot. Space along the wing, cross driven in. And there'll be a corner kick coming here for River.
David, we see Luque picking the ball up here in the wide channel and waiting for the overlap from the left back. But I think he needs to read this moment, remember the goals, and just clip that ball to the far post.
River on this corner, it'll be Luque to serve it in. Left-footed ball to the far post, and it went out of bounds, I believe, as the flag went up.
But we talk about the maturity that River Plate brings to this tournament, their ability to think through games. And you need to take the cue that we've seen so far. From that wide, deeper channel, if you can clip a ball to the far post, make the weak side center back and outside back deal with it. It's so hard, and you're going to cause trouble.
So Latipe says, how is River Plate losing this game? And I'll just run you down the Bobby Warshaw checklist. They've got a goalkeeper right now in Gonzalez, who has come up with some massive saves. They've got game changers in the attack, mainly Isiak and Isak Galvan, as well as Diego Sanchez. What more do you want? River continuing to battle in midfield as we expect. They will this entire game. Joaquin Flores turns away from the defense. He's flying up the field once again. His cross knocked in. And he'll go out for a goal kick.
That right foot's not for kicking. That right foot's for standing. We know how lefties work.
Jason 247, Bobby says Tigres is better than I thought they would be.
Better is not the right word. I would say proactive in this game. We knew that they were good. We knew that they could play with anybody at this tournament. We did not expect them to come out and be as proactive or progressive as they have been.
And one of the things we've seen for teams that have won this tournament is starting slow but growing as the tournament's gone along. And I think Tigres is the best example of that. As I said, they didn't have a shot in the game against RSL until that stoppage time header on a corner kick.
When we talked about this game before, we thought it would be a grind. We can't say that because nobody's ever opened a broadcast and say, welcome to this 60-minute slugfest.
Chance here for Galvan again. Locatelli comes out and takes it off his feet.
But we thought it would be a slow grind from both of these teams, and it's been the opposite. It's been a pleasure to cover these first 27 minutes.
looking for an opportunity to go to Toyota Stadium tomorrow night and face the Saddle Sounders in the U17 GA Cup final. We've got the U15 GA Cup final coming up in 2 hours from Toyota Stadium. The Portland Timbers against Valencia at the U15 level. The first time the Timbers have been to a final at any level at the GA Cup. Do you have a quick little preview for that one for people between Portland and Valencia?
Looking ahead to tomorrow's under 15 final between tonight's final between Portland and Valencia. I was trying to really get the crowd noise from the River Plate.
They have mics around the field, so that's what picks up that noise. You don't
that's why I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
The preview for tonight is that Valencia, very good in a lot of ways. Their main competitive advantage has been the speed at which they play the game, the speed that they press with, the physicality they press with, how quickly they build their possession forward. And it's been hard for the teams of this tournament at the under 15 level to play the game at that processing speed. Portland, however, are probably the perfect MLS team to play this Valencia group because Portland don't need the ball. They are okay sitting back, allowing the other team to come forward, to wear themselves out, to expose themselves, and catch them on the break. We've seen how dangerous their attackers are and how vertical they are with their running. So we expect Valencia to be the team that controls it, but Portland will be very comfortable with that type of game.
Should be a fascinating final. It'll be 70 minutes of action there. So we move to 35-minute halves as we get to the final. It'll be the only round that we have extra time in if the game ends tied, which, as Bobby has mentioned, with late drama, is not wholly unlikely at this point. So we're looking forward to that one. Join us 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central for that big match. And then the final of this level tomorrow, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Probably ready to preview that game before we even know the opponents. That's proactive, Bobby. That's good rest defense from you.
Always think 2 steps ahead
of that game. Bobby, I gotta ask you this. Juan Bustindu, the central midfielder for River Plate, the tucked-in shirt, wearing the number 5, playing D-Win. It's just class.
Like that.
It just oozes class from top to bottom.
Give me your 2 favorite tucked-in shirt players ever.
Red Gaddis, Patrick Vieira. Done.
It's a great list. I did not think that's where you were going with it, but it's a good list.
Wasn't hard. Galvan cuts in field. Collision in the center. And now, Isias Galvan, our goal scorer, picking it up on the right side with his brother Isak. Isak's cross comes in. It's cleared away by Fernandez.
What has more swagger on a soccer field? The tucked-in shirt or the low shin guards and socks?
Chance here for Flores in the box. Flores to his left foot. And he drives it over the crossbar. I think they're different types of swagger. As someone who wore the full ankle guard up until like post-college, I was always a fan. I was never a fan of people thinking they were cool with their socks down. Tigres knocking it around. Their opening goal in the 3rd minute from Isak Galvan to Isias Galvan. 4 minutes later, it was Jonas Luna popping up on the far post for River Plate to equalize, but the Galvan brothers connect again, and Isias putting us ahead in the 13th minute, 2-1. We've got 30 minutes to decide our second finalist for tomorrow's U17 2022 Generation Adidas Cup Final.
We've played against Manchester United, we've played against Celtic and Lyon and other clubs, and I think we see these storied names and these kits that everyone is familiar with, and we get very starry-eyed, but when the ball gets rolling, we're as good as they.
I always tell players that are going to make it to the highest level, everybody likes winning. Winning is easy. Winning is the ultimate fun. When you win, it's easy. But the players that make it hate losing.
For more than 2 decades, Major League Soccer and Adidas have led the way in developing elite youth soccer players. The centerpiece of this effort is the Generation Adidas Cup, a youth tournament featuring the best talent from MLS academies against the world's top international clubs.
Generation Adidas Cup is the single greatest competition that we play all year.
You know, get a chance to play the Real Madrids, the Boca Juniors, the River Plates, you know, the Brazilian teams. It's an education, obviously, and it's an opportunity to measure ourselves up to the rest of the world.
Every single game you play, there's a tactical, mental, physical, technical component and problematic or situation to solve.
We learn the most in these kind of events, in events that there's a little bit more pressure, and we don't get those every week. I wish we did.
The more opportunities the players have to play meaningful games, the greater their chances of, you know, developing that much quicker.
I call the positive pressure because in this kind of event, especially at this age, they start to learn how to compete.
I think so often when we play our regular league games, sometimes you don't get punished, right, for all your mistakes. At the high levels, you will be.
GA Cup provides us a microcosm of that part of the development of, in these tough times, for 20 minutes in this game where we're against tough competition, how do you respond? The ones that are going to persevere, find a way to gut it out through the tough moments.
The inner competitor, that's what a player needs to be, and that's the type of player we need to have in order to develop them and make them better players. Yes, the one that wants to be better than the guy next to me, but the one that especially wants to be better than himself.
They're in a phase right now that they're starting to learn, and in the end of the day, you know, you gotta win games.
You come out and you compete. Because the expectation is 9 points this weekend. Sweeping, winning by lots of goals. No comfort for these guys, in their face no matter what. Don't stop running. Whether you're starting the game or whether you come on, you better have a positive influence on this game. Understood? Tactics now.
Each year, MLS academies compete against each other to earn one of the few coveted spots in the GA Cup finals. At the finals, Club Glory.
And the Seattle Sounders are champions of the 2018 Generation Adidas Cup.
And the dream of turning pro are at stake.
Here's Alfonso Davies. Oh, great kick by Davies to put it away!
At the end of the day, we're developing to win. You're not always going to win, and it's not the end-all, be-all, but you're not developing to lose. I don't think it's wrong to be competitive or wanting to win. I think that's natural.
Our head coach, for example, places a lot of importance on the mentality of the player, on the winning culture of the club. When teams have come from a winning culture, I think it's easier to absorb them into first-team environments, and they get more respect that way too.
I think that you're starting to put the real resources and investment of time into developing players that not just will come into the first team, but will become globally known players.
10, 12 years ago, we couldn't even dream to compete against some of the bigger names, you know, in the world. Now I think we plan and we go into games expecting our guys to do well, expecting results.
In 30 minutes, we'll know who is going to the final of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup U17 level at Toyota Stadium there in the distance tomorrow. Will it be the three-time champions River Plate, or will it be Tigres for the first time ever to face off against the Seattle Sounders? David Goss and Bobby Warshaw with you. We're prepared to kick off this second half. Tigres going right to left on your screens in their yellow and blue kits against River Plate going left to right on your monitors, and they're all white kits with their famous red sash across the front. An electric first half, 3 goals in 15 minutes. And it has us poised here at 2-1, Bobby, for a great second half.
The first half had great energy, David. Both teams came out on the front foot, trying to be the proactive side in this one. We know the weapons that each team has in attack.
Awkward play back there between Fernandez and Locatelli in goal.
Classic fake pickup.
This young man, number 300 for Tigres, Diego Sanchez, has been an offensive outlet throughout this competition, as has this young man, Isias Galvan. And Bobby, I'll tell you that Tigres halftime huddle for a 2-1 lead, it felt subdued. The conversation was a lot of, here are the things we can do better. They talked about playing out a little bit more, playing with the ball at their feet rather than being as direct, but it didn't feel like a team that was riding high on momentum.
Well, A, this is where they expect to be in semifinals, in the lead, playing games like River Plate. But B, I also just generally think of Tigres as a club, their style of play, not to be quiet or subdued. I think of it as the word subtle. That the way they go about their performances is both fantastic, but their demeanor is so, oh, this is just who we are. This is what we do. No big deal.
Two of the biggest academies in the world. This Tigres side developed two of the stars of their teams that have won all these titles, including Jesus Dueñas, Alan Pulido coming out of this academy, as did Jesus Molina and Aldo de Nigris. So a legacy left ahead of these players for them to follow. Luque going to slip that one up the field centrally. And that one will be a blown whistle. It's deflected off of Christian Campo Hernandez, our head official.
And David, the second part about the Tigres halftime talk is they also have to know how incredibly talented this River Plate team is and what they will bring in the next 30 minutes. This will likely not be a fun 30 minutes for Tigres. If they pull it out, there will be suffering, there will be pain, but it would be worth it in the end.
Sanchez battling with the goal scorer in Luna. Luna gets his cross away and hits the crossbar. And it rolls to the far side.
It's the right ball from number 8, Jonas Luna. If you can, find the space in the final third, pick up your head, and the clipped ball to the back post. This one too close to the goal, clips the crossbar, but it's the right idea.
Long ball out of the back. Thomas Jung over to cover it. And it will roll all the way out for a corner kick at the end of the other side of the field. Wow, you see the wind from behind that Tigres goal into the face of River. You see it there again. The effect it can have on this game.
It will, and we usually think of the wind as being an advantage to the way you want to play, but I think with the way this Tigres team is set up, and we already talked about the 3 attackers, the Galvan brothers and Sanchez, they want to attack the space behind the opposition's back line, and that's harder. When you have the wind, every through ball, every ball into the depth drifts with the wind into the goalkeeper's arms.
We are loving hanging out with all of you on Twitch, as well as on the MLS YouTube page. Some good questions out there on Twitch. Jason247K says, which of these teams would be worse for Seattle? It's a really interesting question.
It is. I know this is hard to say since Tigres is winning, but I still think that this River Plate team is a better team, slightly more talent, better on set pieces, more organized. And yes, Tigres might win because they are certainly good enough to do so. But I still think that the River Plate team would be the bigger challenge for Seattle.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think this River team might be more physical. And Seattle, you saw already had a physicality deficit to Inter Miami. What would it be like to River? But I think in terms of style, River will take more of the ball. And Seattle's happy to hit on the counter and press high. And so Tigres might be a tougher style matchup for them. But it is a really good question. It's a tough one to sort of consider. I'm sure the Seattle coaches are figuring that out as well after their 1-0 win over Inter Miami. Heading to the final tomorrow afternoon. We saw San Jose put River, push them to their limits in the group stage. And San Jose's ability to play through their midfield three, continue to play out of the back with and without the wind, and play through River's press, Bobby. That was the huge stressor for them. Opportunity here for Sanchez. And his ball goes all the way through the box. David Goss, Bobby Warshaw with you. We've got Kelly Glendenning here as well. Kelly, this is your first time at the GA Cup. Are you enjoying the River Plate supporters?
And, you know, they're also too, they've been here before, and you can tell they came really prepared. So I just love seeing them out here, and it's great to kind of get that vibe going. And I know the players on the field probably really appreciate it too.
That's my favorite part about the tournament. Seeing all of the other teams, whether it's at the under 17 age group and your 15s, come and watch and cheering. And then when you score a goal, a winner game, everyone gets together and jumps and celebrates as one unit. Because we talk so often about the importance of full club alignment, from the first team to the MLS Next Pro team to the academy team, bringing everyone together, not just in your philosophical ideas, but culturally.
Yeah.
And then you see how they come together. It's such a joy every event.
Chance for Flores now to push in. Flores squares it. Good close defensively there.
Flores is done with his right foot. He's kicked it with it twice. He's over it. Back to the left foot. Phil, you've had a chance to be around the coaches all week on the sideline, listen to the pregame talks, the halftime talks. What are the main observations you have about these coaches at the U15 and U17 level?
Of approaches, I would say. Just, you know, the coaches who are more vocal, they're really standing out. Yesterday we saw Valencia's coach. I think he talked the entire time. And but then you look at Atlanta's coach in that game. It was a great contrasting view where, you know, Zach Harold was just sitting there and kind of letting his Atlanta team figure it out. But for a 15-year-old to be out on this field and tactically be able to think in that way, it's something that, you know, I didn't really have that growing up. I played club, but we didn't have this kind of academy program, especially not in the women's game. So getting to see such a young age, understanding tactics that I didn't really get probably till I was 18, and they just get that advantage. It was really cool to see. And they're involved in it too. I love how the coaches ask the questions of the players. What did you see? What should we change? And they would oftentimes come up with those answers and figure it out on their own. But it was really great to see.
And how even the individual coaches change throughout a game or between games. Each game has something different of players, but also of the coach. Is this a time when my team needs my energy? Is this time when they need to be calm? Is this time they need lessons? Is this time when I need to let them struggle a little bit? And you think you know a coach, and you watch them 2 days later, and it's totally different.
Corner kick coming here, and Kelly, I love when you come into those reports saying the coach asked the questions, and the players find the answers rather than coaches. As you have coaches learning about education and not just the sport, but how to help kids sort of learn and get to the next level has been really cool to see. Do we have any moments, players, performances that stand out as will be the ones that we'll take away from this week?
one of the games that actually was happening behind me when I was reporting in between games, and it was the NYCFC Tigres game actually, and that went all the way into PKs, and you know, just watching this Tigres team battle it out, fight for that PK spot, it was really neat to see. And I would kind of, you know, looking at this game but focus on the other, and I would tap a parent on the shoulder and be like, hey, what's the score? And they were so eager and proud and excited to talk about it. But I loved getting to watch even a peek of that game. And then the other one for me, it was another one that we didn't even get to call, but it was this River Plate team versus Manchester United. And David, I was talking to you about it yesterday. I predicted about, I don't think there were 500. It looked like 500 people, but it was packed.
Header at the far post, knocked down and in. He had the assist on the opening goal, and Isak Galvan now has his name in the scorebook alongside his brother.
Tigres only score when we are talking about someone else. That's who they are. When you least expect it, they pop up. This time, it's the free kick to the back post. And David, 4 goals today, 4 services to the back post, 4 finishes.
It was his service in the first half that found the opening goal, and he now able to pop on top of that cross on the far post, off the woodwork and in. And Bobby, you got to say, great use of the wind on the whip on that corner.
For sure. We come into this tournament, and teams aren't used to the wind, and the set pieces are poor. By the second or third day, they've at least figured out.
River put this cross in, and Alexis Gonzalez's header goes wide.
By day 2 or 3, they figured out the ideas and the adjustments. And then it's at this point in the tournament when we start to see the execution come around as well. How do you use the wind when it's with you, when it's against you? Tigres giving us a clinic of taking a corner kick with the wind at your back.
And we look at let's take another look at this corner kick, and just it's hit out towards midfield, and the wind helped brings that whip back to that far post. And it looked like every River defender stepped out with it.
It was really curled from left to right, about 8 yards on that.
As Kelly mentioned, a big match against Manchester United in the last game. River Plate fought their way back. They have been in spots like this, down 2 goals with 18 minutes left, and there'd be nothing more Generation Adidas Cup than us writing them off and then coming all the way back. Bobby, you've played at Toyota Stadium. Is the wind different once you get into the stadium for the finals tonight and tomorrow?
It is. The professional field is built down into the ground, so you have to walk down from surface level to get to the field. It also means you have to walk back up at halftime, but the field is ultimately surrounded by the stands in the surrounding area, so you don't get the same wind effect.
Thiago Acosta coming on in place of the right back in Benjamin Fernandez. Fernandez, the one coming in field and forced into a lot of the big defensive plays for this River team. We have a question here in the chat. It says, from Grilled Bread 1, says, what is the purpose of this tournament? First of all, shouts to everyone who's not eating bread right now. Shout out to you on Passover. But the purpose of this tournament originally was created for a chance for the best MLS teams around the country to play together because the travel so far. It then became a benchmark against international teams, for these international squads to come in and sort of allow MLS players, coaches, teams to see the level. And a lot of that was a teaching moment in saying, if you think you're the best team because you win on the weekend 6-0, this is how much farther you need to go. And also a job for everyone to sort of say, how far have we come? How much further can we go, as you see the support, the passion from those River players still, that they support their teammates. It has now become one of the youth tournaments in the world. It is an opportunity for all the North American teams, but for big clubs around the world, they want to be invited here. They want to come and play. A Man U wants to play in River. They want to play in NYCFC. They want to be pushed and challenged at this level, and so that's what this tournament is for. COVID has affected the way it's done. Normally there's qualifying, and the qualifying ends with an upper and a lower tournament. We've moved away from that, and so now the qualifying is just for seeding in the group stage. The Liga MX clubs qualify just to get here. as not all 20 Liga MX sides are invited to this tournament. As you see the Tigres supporters at midfield across from us with their flags raised. And then a number of guest invites across the world. We had clubs this year from Portugal, from Italy, obviously from Argentina, from Scotland, England, supposed to be a club from Nigeria, but because of travel issues, had to withdraw late on from this tournament. We've seen clubs in the past from South Korea, from Japan, really from all over the world to give a taste of all the different styles, competition that players can experience throughout their lives.
And David, as we look at this 2022 edition, I'm interested to hear from both you and Kelly. What is a team that you will remember? You've been doing this for 7 years. When we sit down and chat and remember the good old times, who is the team from this 2022 edition at either the under 15 or the under 17 level?
I think for me to start, I'd say for the 15s, it'll be TFC. They went through a lot. They really just weren't able to play because of COVID. They came out here and they played really well. Played with a ton of heart. They were fun to watch. And I think in the 17 level, it'll be San Jose. Even getting knocked out in the group stage, their ability to play, their ability to play through midfield against this River Plate team is a game they should have won. They had 2 chances in the box in the closing 3 minutes to go ahead 2-1. They ended up going to penalties to sort of decide the extra point in the group stage. But that was one of the most impressive performances. So those are the 2 that stand out to me. Kelly, how about you?
U15s, I know they're about to play here in just a bit, but I don't so much have a favorite player on that team, but he's my favorite coach, Fernando Pessoa. We've gotten to really pick his brain before their games, and he just offers so much insight, but you can just feel and sense his passion and his ability to connect with his players. He just really has done so much with that team. You know, he considered themselves the underdogs, and to watch them yesterday battle back, they found that late goal, winning in PKs. It was inspiring to see. Now you just really like his philosophy, his demeanor on the pitch, and they've just done an incredible job.
Yeah, it has been fun to talk to Fernando as this tournament's gone along, the way he's experienced it. They've been pleasantly surprised with the performances, and therefore it's sort of taken the pressure off their team because there was no expectations, but they knew the quality was there in their players. And for all of us that know, you know, Portland Timbers have not produced a ton of homegrowns out of their academy that have made a difference for them at the MLS level. Maybe their best ever. Marco Farfan playing here for FC Dallas week in and week out. But it is fun to watch this group, and they've got a shot against Valencia because they have those things you talk about. They've got Van Pelt in goal, who's playing at a high level. They've got great shape defensively in their banks of 4 when they sit in. And they've got match winners. They've got 3 or 4 who can just have a moment of brilliance, especially Noah Santos up top, who can open things up. Ball clipped over the top. Tigres, 2 goals in the opening 12 minutes of the first half. And a goal here 11 minutes into the second half. The difference right now. That ball's clipped over the top. Approach the final 10 minutes of play here at Field 4. It's been our home for the last 8 days, day after day, game after game. We have had so much fun watching these young players battle it out. And with all of you, your questions, your comments, all the fun we've had on social media as well. It's been a great week.
All right, the follow-up question to the teams, David. And anybody that's listening to the streams can guess what your answer is going to be, but I want to hear you say it. Favorite player. The player that you will remember, you saw Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, Joe Scally, George Bello before anybody else knew their names. Who will you remember 2022 for?
Well, one will be Diego Sanchez here on Tigres, because he's been really special to watch. I think Angel Martinez, the center back for Seattle Sounders, stands out. I think Kevon Sullivan, the U15s for the Philadelphia Union, will be one that stands out as well, as this corner kick's driven in by Sanchez to the far post and headed down. Those are a few of them. I think there's a couple players out of this Inter Miami team. Israel Boatwright, the right back, who's been really impressive. Ben Kramashi in central midfield, as well as Brian Destin, all stand out to me. Long shot driven over the crossbar here. Bobby, what about you? You or Kelly? You're all allowed to say players as well. You don't just have to listen to me.
You know where I'm going to go on the field for this, David. I'm going to center midfield. I'm going to the number 6s. And we were impressed with both age groups of LAFC teams. And the under 15s particularly stood out. And so much of it runs through DeCarlo Guerra, their defensive midfielder. He's asked to play there by himself, just as we see at the LAFC first team level. And he was good on the ball. He was good counter-pressing. He was a quiet leader. He'll be the one that'll stick in my mind from this tournament.
Yeah, I think for Austin FC, Micah Burton and Daniel Ordonez were really impressive. Micah Burton, the U17 international. As River forces the turnover here. Can they cut this lead in half and put the pressure on Radar? Opportunity in the box. Rolled into the far post. Game on, says River, with 10 minutes to play.
Late drama. This tournament has been all about late drama. 10 minutes to go. Tigres 3, River Plate 2.
Santiago Lencinas coming over from the left to the right side. It was that last tackle. It deflected back out in front of him. And Lencinas makes no mistakes with that finish. Bobby, in the last game with the Seattle Sounders, you said you don't want to just sit in. But this is not a high-volume possession team for Tigres. So how do they handle now this one-goal lead?
Yeah, the main thing that you want to do when you're up a goal late in the game is make the other team work for everything. You know what? If they break down your block with combinations and a fantastic finish, good for them. You applaud them. But you absolutely cannot give away transition moments. You cannot let them attack open space. At the same time, you do not want to change your approach. Tigres have been good on the ball. They've been secure with it. So how can they still use the ball, be brave, but not leave them exposed in leave themselves exposed in transitions?
They bring on a substitute in central midfield in Jorge Zapata to try to bring some fresh legs in there, Bobby, knowing that's where they're going to win or lose this game against this Riverside.
And we see this all the time from Monterrey at the first team level. The block of 4 between the center backs and the defensive midfielders. They go up a goal, and they will keep those players there at all times. They will always have at least 4 players behind the ball near the midfield line.
Were you actually talking about Monterrey, or do you again confuse Monterrey and Tigres?
They do the same thing. We did do 3 Monterrey games this week, so.
Ball slipped through here, and offside flag's up.
Decisive decision. We could see it here. The flag went up immediately.
It was Edgar Garcia, our assistant referee on the near side, to make that call. The River fans, their full voice across from us at midfield, trying to cheer their team on. Never a club to be considered an underdog in any moment. As that one's flicked on goal. And Bobby, that's why these Tigres attackers are still out there. The Galvan brothers as well as Sanchez, because as River pushes to attack, you know there'll be a chance or 2 out there for them to kill it off.
And it only takes a moment.
Ball through the lines here to Chase, and Gonzalez with the giant clearance. Ball knocked down. River looking to push again. It's the center back here. Evangelista with the cross. And the acrobatic clearance, and now Sanchez brings it down. Was not able to keep it for long for Tigres. The pressure starting to build from River. Alexis Gonzalez dropping it back to Bahu. He had the assist on the opening goal in this game. It was a 3rd-minute goal for Tigres, a 7th-minute equalizer for River. 5 minutes later, Tigres went ahead again. They scored 10 minutes into the second half and looked like they were going to cruise to victory. River a goal 10 minutes after that. As players go down for Tigres with cramps. And River trying to play through it. So Tigres, it looks like, are ready to make their next change. It'll be Jesus Mendez, it looks like, to come on. And Bobby, in these moments, 6th game in 7 days. Late in this one, up a goal, down a goal. What is it as a player that you fall back on to get you to the finish line?
The main thing for most of these players will just be the competitive drive. That no matter how tired you are, how hard it is in that moment, you absolutely do not want to lose. These types of players are the type of people who find their joy, their happiness, their contentment from victory, from winning. And it's a reminder of that feeling that you always need to be the best. That gives you the extra 1%.
To make this trip, to be here for such a long time, away from your friends and families, with your team. You want to go home with the victory. I have watched these River teams celebrate after wins. We had Atletico Paranaense come from Brazil one time, and they won, and they went out for fast food after because the team had made a commitment for a year before to win this tournament, and everyone cut out fast food as a way to get there. That's how much it means to these clubs that are coming here to the GA Cup.
David Goss, not a Paranaense player.
No, not at all. Not a fast food person either, though. I did get an Atletico Paranaense jacket.
Good jackets. Quality jackets.
I guess halal counts as fast food, probably, so I probably just lost that one and tacos. Okay, cool. I'm back. Ball tossed in. Luque with the long strike.
And I was just about to say, David, for as wild as this game has been, that's a name we haven't said much. Luque, the number 10 for River, has been quiet. But if you put 2 and 2 together here, the late drama we've seen, it feels like there's a goal left. It feels like this young man has energy left. You have to imagine he will play a role in the dying minutes.
Remember, 7 substitutes available to these two teams in 3 moments in the second half. As the sun sets and the temperature drops here, we already know the Sounders will be playing tomorrow night under the lights at Toyota Stadium. Will it be Liga MX opposition, or will it be River Plate going for a 4th GA Cup championship?
David, one observation for us to keep an eye on is that when Tigres play forward, they squeeze the field so fast, which you always want to do, bringing your defenders forward as quickly as possible, but they're doing it very fast. If River had gotten a toe on one of these second balls in midfield, there's so much room in the depth for Gonzalez and Flores to run onto. We've already seen it a couple times where they get behind them. So you can understand what Tigres wants to do squeezing the field. But for me, it just feels like too high of a pace and too far right now, and they're leaving themselves exposed behind.
Is there that one more chance hanging out there for River as we approach the final minute of stoppage time? That ball played up over the top and cleared away. It was Jesus Mendez, the substitute, on the spot.
And this was what we're saying. The blind ball. River sees Tigres back line stepping forward. Space behind.
Lucinhas, he had the goal to cut the lead in half. Surrounded by yellow jerseys. Everyone back to defend right now for Tigres. Flores somehow finds Evangelista, back to Flores. Flores' cross, and Gonzalez will let it die in front of him to waste some minutes.
It's good from River again. Moving it side to side, driving forward, getting it to one of their chance creators in Flores. Ideally, anywhere but that right foot. But another opportunity in the final third.
A minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time coming here for River. We are not done yet for the night. We have the final of our U15 competition coming up in a little over an hour, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. local, as the Portland Timbers face off against Valencia, coming in from Spain. And we will have our final for these teams tomorrow night. Right now, it will be a Tigres Seattle Sounders CCL rematch. Can River Plate throw another wrench in it? The ball driven over the top. It'll fall behind the Tigres path line. And well done to add that one back on goal.
But we see it again. Tigres trying to squeeze the field, be as compact as possible, but leaving space behind the back line. River plays a direct ball, the run from midfield. There's always a chance left, David.
We got someone in the Twitch chat that says they can smell the equalizer. Tigres hoping maybe they've got another goal in them. As River throw it in quickly.
There's still space. Here we see Tigres at the midfield line, especially on the left. Here, that's the ball that's been open.
And again, it's the substitute Mendes to step forward.
And River is putting more numbers to that left side. They have a 2v1 or a 3v2 pretty much every time.
And the wind helping River, I think, Bobby, hang those balls up before they get to the goalie.
Yep.
So there's space, as Bobby has said, to play along that back line. Bahu kept Galvan on here. And now River floats it out to that left wing once again. Sanchez through the lines for Galvan. Sitting on 2 goals. And the hat trick!
Sauce. Put it up!
Isias Galvan, his 3rd goal of the day to match his brother, who had our 4th. And Tigres, for the first time ever, are headed to the final of the Generation Adidas Cup.
A deserved quality to send your team through to the final. The little chip, so soft, so tight. The sauce meter throwing up the 9. And Tigres has booked their trip to GA Cup U17 final.
For Isias Galvan. That goal puts him at 6 for the tournament. 3 on the day. He's been the outlet all week alongside his brother. It wasn't Sanchez on the score sheet today, but that 3-headed monster up top shows up when it's needed once again.
He is for sure in the David Goss Golden Boot race.
The Galvan brothers are going to be playing in CCL pretty soon. And River, they always have the target on their back at every level they play at. They were pushed this year in this tournament. And Tigres will move on. They will face the Seattle Sounders tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:15 local, for our final match of the GA Cup.
DG, we're rolling, man. I hope everyone stays. This chat has been good. This game has been good. We appreciate you. Come join us in an hour, the U15 final. So, David, I'll put the question to you. Give me the 15-second preview of the U17 final tomorrow between Tigres and the Seattle Sounders.
Two teams that have three difference makers up top that can be lethal in transition. Two teams that can press when they want to. And two teams that have shown in the big moments to make the right decisions, to see out one-goal leads, to hold shutouts when they need to. Bobby, I think really a 50-50 split going into this one. Do you agree?
To find any difference, you have to look at the Sounders' defensive ability, but both of these teams on the field today and in the final tomorrow so deserve it.
Tigres, they've done it at the senior level. They dominate in Mexico. They've won title after title, and these young players trying to show they are the next generation. As Tigres move on to our final, they will face off against the Sounders. Let's take one more look at our bracket. As you look at how these teams got here for Tigres, it was penalty kicks against NYC just to get to the semifinals, and then a dominant performance here. 4-2 over a River Plate team that beat one of the biggest clubs in Manchester United to face off against the Seattle Sounders. We've got one more game coming up tonight, our U15 final and our U17 final tomorrow. We now know it'll be MLS Liga next in our final, Sounders versus Tigres for the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup Championship.